This is the New Balance 1080 version 12. This version of the 1080 is a big update from last season's model that focuses on 5 key changes. It has a wider fit, a new heel counter, a more oversized sole, a new upper and a softer midsole. And in this video we're going to dive into how these changes affect the model's performance on foot. If you don't know me, I'm Dylan the Running Shoe Geek and I work in the footwear industry, and I've recently started this YouTube channel to chat about all things to do with running footwear. If this interests you, consider subscribing. The 1080 is now on its 12th iteration, making it, alongside the 880 and 860, the brand's oldest contemporary running shoes in their range. The 1080 is positioned as the brand's premium well-cushioned neutral road running shoe that offers runners at all levels a comfortable shoe to run high mileage in, if you're willing to pay the premium price. In its category, the 1080 has typically been up there as the most responsive well-cushioned trainer. It's by no means an out-and-out racing shoe, but it has had an edge on its competitors by being able to accommodate both slower and up-tempo paces, perhaps making it the most pace-versatile, well-cushioned shoe on the market. But with this new model does come significant changes from before, and that's what we're here to talk about. So first on our agenda of things to talk about is the shoe's wider fit. The 1080 V12 adopts a new last, which is essentially a foot-shaped mold that helps determine the shape of the shoe. The V12 adopts the new PL8 V2 last, which is different from before, that in conjunction with this stretchy upper leaves your foot with more room in terms of width and length in the shoe that will require most runners to go half size down in terms of fit, or at least switch from the wide fit option to the standard fit option. The 1080 V12 adopts a new heel counter that moves away from the ultra heel that the past 3 models of the shoe has used. I must admit I wasn't a big fan of the ultra heel on version 9, but come version 10 and version 11 and the ultra heel had made some big improvements that felt less invasive and more streamlined on foot. As much as I and many runners have loved the ultra heel, particularly on this model, some runners haven't got along with it, particularly the more traditional runners that like a well-constructed heel counter and collar of the shoe. The new heel design should please more runners by offering a more commercial design that really should get along with most runners, but it may not excite runners the same way I loved the ultra heel. And then we have a new upper. It's an updated version of the brand's Hyperknit, which is a knitted upper that's flexible at the toes and has a more constructed weave in other areas of the shoe. I must admit I'm not the biggest fan of knit uppers, but for some reason I love it on the 1080 and it gives the shoe a real premium feel. But the flexibility of a knit upper just adds volume above the toes, so just be wary of that. The new model definitely has a more substantial upper. There's more padding, more material and a more constructed collar of the shoe. And this definitely goes back to some of the 1080's more traditional roots, but it does add some weight onto the shoe. But we'll talk about that in a sec. The big update of this shoe is the oversized footprint that the shoe offers. It's more bulkier on foot and has a wider base of support. The good of that is that it does offer more stable frame to run off of and perhaps a tad more cushioning underfoot, but the downside is that it does come in at 30 grams heavier. While this is heavier, it's still in the whereabouts of its competitors' weights, but it's just no longer the lightest in its category like it previously was. The last of the updates is more subtle. It has to do with the midsole of the shoe being slightly softer and more flexible underfoot compared with previous models. I stand by my opinion of thinking that the 1080 is responsive despite being soft and forgiving underfoot, which is actually very rare of a shoe. New Balance use a foam called Fresh Foam X, which a couple of their long distance premium running shoes use, except Fresh Foam X feels different in each one of these shoes. The X in Fresh Foam X simply means that the foam is specifically engineered to the needs of the shoe, and that the density of the foam within the shoe varies in different places, so that it's soft on the heel, more responsive on the forefoot, and a little bit more stable on the medial side. So this is a really nice data-driven foam. Then on the 1080 we also have a mild rocker design that helps you roll forward, except on the new model the rocker is a little bit more flexible than before. All in all, the Fresh Foam 1080 V12 may not be quite as light as before, but it does return back to some of its more traditional roots that will pin the shoe up closer to some of its competitors, while also making the shoe more approachable on shelf for a broader range of runners. Like what happens with some running shoes, some runners are going to prefer the previous model, and I fall inside this bracket. But what you can rest assured with the new model is that you're getting a special foam with a premium underfoot ride. You're just going to have to double check your sizing before purchasing. Thanks for watching this running shoe review. Give me your thoughts down in the comments and let's chat about running shoes again soon. Cheers.